Sean Strickland used to be one of the most loved fighters in the UFC, especially the build up to the Adesanya fight. And then after he beat Adesanya, it was like a classic underdog story, right? Everybody was writing off Sean Strickland. So many people were rooting for him, but they didn't really think that he could pull it off against Adesanya, but he did. He dropped Adesanya in the first round. He won basically the entire fight from start to finish. And he became middleweight champion. Everybody loved him. He was great on the mic, right? He said crazy controversial things that nobody in the UFC said before. And it made him into a pretty big star, right? I like Sean Strickland at that moment in time. You know, for everything that happened against the Adesanya fight, I thought that was great. But now Sean Strickland has somehow managed to become one of the most insufferable fighters in the UFC right now. And I'm going to be getting into that today. Why Sean Strickland needs to be stopped. He's causing so many problems for the UFC right now. The first thing I want to talk about is my biggest problem with him. I made a video called Criticizing Your Favorite Fighters. The one thing I said about Sean Strickland is he talks a big game, but he never backs it up. He doesn't back it up at all. If you listen to a Sean Strickland press conference, it'll go along the lines of, we're going to fight to the death. We're going to make it bloody. We're going to have a crazy brawl. We're going to go out there and try to kill each other and bleed for you guys. But that never happens. Maybe the blood part, but Sean Strickland's fighting, in my opinion, isn't really what he makes it out to be. And we saw that first with the Paulo Costa performance. I was so hyped for that fight. When that fight got booked, Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa, I was insanely hyped. I thought that was going to be a great fight. The press conference was great. Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa, those two guys, you know, seemed like they would be just put on a crazy fight. But what we saw with that fight was a huge disappointment. Like a huge disappointment. Sean Strickland said he was going to go out there and do all this stuff and put on a great performance, but that did not happen. That fight was extremely boring. He put on a jab and teep performance like he usually does. And people will say, you know, in Sean Strickland's defense, that Paulo Costa was on the back foot the whole time. Rewatch that fight. Sean Strickland could have been more aggressive, but no, he just throws his jab and teep. He puts his shin up and tries to check leg kicks, and he wins that fight by a boring decision. And then he says he's going to sit out and wait for the title shot. He thinks that win earned him the title shot over everybody else in the middleweight division for Dricus du Plessis. First of all, if you're going to put a performance like that up against Paulo Costa, I don't think you should just sit out and wait for a title shot. I think that performance was not, you know, title worthy in my opinion. If you put on a performance like that against Paulo Costa, like number 7 ranked Paulo Costa or whatever he was, you are not this, you know, scary contender that should be challenging the champion Dricus du Plessis for a title shot. Right? I didn't see championship material in that fight. And the Sean Strickland that once didn't care about the title, didn't care about the money, he just was in there, you know, for other reasons that weren't superficial, is now sitting on his ass for months, waiting for a title shot. So from, you know, his fight with Adesanya to his fight with Paulo Costa, he basically completely did a 180. He changed up his whole motivation for fighting. This guy's trying to convince us that he's some badass who doesn't care about the title and all this shit, yet he's putting on some stinky performance against Paulo Costa and sitting on his ass for like 10 months. Sean Strickland hasn't fought literally since March. Was it March? I think it was March. And then to top it off, you know, I didn't think that Sean Strickland was actually going to get the title shot. After the Khamzat Chimaev versus Robert Whittaker fight got booked, I thought, you know, Khamzat's probably going to jump the line. I mean, it's Khamzat. He's a way bigger star. He's a fresh new face for a matchup against Dricus du Plessis. And then he goes and beats Robert Whittaker by first round submission. Dominant performance. Literally, like, he's never looked better than he did in that fight. So after that fight, I'm thinking, oh yeah, we're going to have Khamzat versus Dricus du Plessis. This fight's going to be awesome. You know, waiting around. And then eventually we get the news that Sean Strickland will be taking on Dricus du Plessis in Sydney, Australia for UFC 312 in a rematch. I don't know if it's because Khamzat Chimaev couldn't make Sydney, Australia. Maybe he's not allowed in Australia. Maybe he just couldn't make it. But they booked that fight. And then to make it worse, it's one of the worst cards, pay-per-view cards we've had in literally forever, since UFC 289. That fateful card, UFC 289. I think UFC 312 might top UFC 289 for being the shittiest pay-per-view card in modern times. They literally have one more women's title fight below it, and then the feature fight is like Tai Tuivasa versus some debuting heavyweight. But the thing that really pissed me off and made me want to make this video is what Sean Strickland's doing on top of all these antics he's been pulling. So I'm going to show you guys this video. I'm sure you guys have seen it, but Sean Strickland basically pleading Dricus du Plessis to not wrestle him. Because I think DDP, I haven't come out with my predictions yet, but I think he's going to wrestle this time and really make a dominant victory against Sean Strickland. But let's just check out this video. It's just an absolute just embarrassment by Sean Strickland begging the champion to basically take it easy on him. That's basically what he's asking.
Listen, Dutchman, I'm gonna need you to be a man. I'm gonna need you to stand up, not go to your knees, and we're gonna need to strike like men. I know you like to wrestle and you like to choke people out and do some dude, but I'll make a pact with you, you make a pact with me that we stand up like men and we settle this like men.
Okay, so as you guys can see, Sean Strickland's basically pleading Dricus du Plessis to not take him down, and he wants a old-fashioned stand and bang like real men. That's his little pathetic excuse. And let's check out the comments. Why be an MMA fighter if you don't want to wrestle? That's one of the top comments on this Twitter post. Exactly. Like, not only does this guy want an unfair, undeserved title shot, but now he wants to only strike with him. Next comment says he'll always say that and then jab for 5 rounds. And then there's this fight. This is how Sean Strickland fights, by the way.
3 good leg kicks there.
This is exactly what. That's Sean Strickland's fighting for you after he says that he's going to kill his opponent in the octagon. And people are ripping into him in these comments, and like they should. I just, after all Strickland talks, and now he's doing all this shit, it's really pissing me off. Honestly, Sean Strickland should surpass Jamal Hill for most insufferable fighter because of this shit. I feel like not enough people are giving Sean Strickland shit for all this stuff he's been pulling. I mean, do we really want to see Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland again? Like, I don't think it's going to be close. I don't think Sean Strickland's going to win this fight. And it's just, I would be willing to, be more accepting of the fight if we didn't have a clear contender, Khamzat Chimaev, who should be fighting for the title. I don't care if we have to wait any longer. Just why potentially make the fight between Khamzat and Dricus even longer by maybe Dricus gets injured, or maybe he loses and they do some trilogy. Hopefully not. That would be the worst thing to ever happen to fucking middleweight division. But yeah, in this fight, I don't see Dricus du Plessis losing to Sean Strickland this time. I think the way Sean Strickland fights is he's just super prone to a takedown. I mean, we all see it. We saw that clip on Twitter of how he fights. He's the most upright fighter probably in the UFC. He's perfect to just get taken down. I mean, he's not in an athletic position. He's just standing upright like that. I think Dricus du Plessis is going to capitalize on that. I think he's going to take him down a lot more, mix in the takedowns in this fight. I think he might finish Sean Strickland, genuinely. And I'm not preying on Sean Strickland's downfall, but I just want him out of the picture because he's not an entertaining fighter. He's an entertaining talker. And I want to see some real competition. I want to see Khamzat in there. If Adesanya gets a win, Khamzat's champion, Adesanya versus Khamzat, that would be a just huge fight. Or even if Dricus remains champion, I want to see the best of the best fight. I want to see entertaining fights. I want to see different styles. And I can just imagine exactly how the Strickland versus DDP fight's going to go. And I'm just not that excited for it. I'm just not. This fight's not getting me up on my seat. This is not like Pereira versus Ankalaev for UFC 313. It's just not that. And I'm kind of mad at Sean Strickland about that because this guy has an undeserved title shot and now we're about to witness the worst pay-per-view in history. So let me know what you guys think about, Sean Strickland. I think he just needs to lose against DDP and just get out of the scene and just, fight on fight nights, main events, because I don't want to see these matchups. I'm getting sick of it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you guys like this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.